Hello, friends. This is Darren Hayes of PigskinDispatch.com. Before we take you to your favorite Sports History Network show, just want to tell you a little bit about some merch that you can pick up that represents your favorite SHN podcast. So far, there's t-shirts, coffee mugs, and even books from some of the authors that do podcasts right here on SHN. Who could buy something better than that, than have the history right from the gentleman that you hear talking about it? But we also are adding things each and every day. And where's that store, may you ask? Well, it's at SportsHistoryNetwork.com. Up at the top, there is the SHN merch button. Click on that. It'll take you right to the store, and you can be representing your favorite podcast and show the world that, hey, on the swag that I'm using, it's the headquarters of sports yesteryear, Sports History Network, and my favorite podcaster, the Sports History Network store. Shop there today. Now it's time to take a sports break, a look at sports history on a daily basis. Hello, my friends of sports history. This is Darren Hayes of the Sports Jersey Dispatch podcast. Welcome once again to the Pig Pen, your portal to all things great in sports history, and welcome to your sports break for this January 21st edition, as we will talk about some of the great milestone moments in sports history, some of the athletes that participated in them, and the uniform numbers that they may have worn during those contests. So before we do that, let's make sure you know how to get a hold of us. We love to have your feedback, love to be in contact with you. So one way you can get in contact with us is email. Pigskindispatch@gmail.com is one way to do it. Also, you can DM us on Twitter. We are at Pigskin Dispatch, or on Facebook, we have the Pigskin Dispatch channel. So great ways to get a hold of us and communicate, and we'd love to have your follows on those social media as well. Now let's get into those uniform numbers we'll talk about today. Those numbers are 7, 14, 9, 89, 12, 13, 45, 27, 32, 26, 12, 21, 5, 4, and number 66. It all starts in 1930 on January 21st when Cooney Wayland, who put on the number 7 sweater for the Boston Bruins, scored the franchise's 100th goal of the season in a 5-1 thwarting of the Chicago Blackhawks to help the Bruins become the first NHL franchise in history to post 100 goals in a single season. January 21st, 1954, Bob Cousy of the Boston Celtics leads his East All-Star team to a 98-93 victory over the West by scoring 10 points in just the overtime session. Cousy, wearing the number 14, was handed the Most Valuable Player award for this great endeavors, especially in that overtime thing. And if you remember back on the January 15th post that we had, the great guard would later win the NBA All-Star Game Most Valuable Player award for the 1957 game as well. In 1958, at the NBA All-Star Game on January 21st, Bob Pettit, wearing number 9 for the Western All-Star squad, became the first member of the losing team to receive the Most Valuable Player honors. When he was given that in 1958, Pettit, who normally played with the St. Louis Hawks that season, hauled down 26 rebounds and scored 28 points to keep the West in the game during the 118-130 loss. The Athletic Center would go on to win the All-Star Game MVP honor 4 times in his illustrious career. On January 21st, 1968, the 18th NFL Pro Bowl game was played at the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum. The West beat the East 38-20. Most valuable players were Chicago Bears halfback number 40, Gale Sayers. And on defense, it was Green Bay Packers defensive tackle number 89, Dave Robinson. In 1968, on January 21st, that same day as the NFL Pro Bowl we just talked about, the American Football League had their 7th All-Star game, this one on the other coast at the Gator Bowl in Jacksonville, Florida. The Eastern Division defeated the Western Division 25-24. The MVPs were the duo of the New York Jets number 12 quarterback Joe Namath and his flanker partner number 13, Don Maynard, and Los Angeles Chargers returner defensive back Speedy Duncan, who wore number 45. January 21st, 1969, the 22nd NHL All-Star Game took place at the Montreal Forum, and the Western Division tied the Eastern Division 3-3. Most valuable player in the game was Frank Malkovich, number 27, the left wing for the Detroit Red Wings. In 1973, on the 21st of January, the 23rd NFL Pro Bowl took place at Texas Stadium in Irving. The AFC defeated the NFC 33-28 in that game, and the MVP was Buffalo Bills running back number 32, O.J. Simpson. In 1975 on this date, the 28th NHL All-Star Game took place in Montreal. The Wales Conference defeated the Campbell Conference 7-1, and MVP was Syl Apps Jr., number 26 from the Pittsburgh Penguins, their center. In 1979, a very memorable moment. January 21st, Super Bowl 13 at the Miami Orange Bowl. The Pittsburgh Steelers beat the Dallas Cowboys in one of the greatest Super Bowls ever played. Final score was 35-31. Most valuable player was Pittsburgh's quarterback number 12, Terry Bradshaw. And we have some interesting sports stories that happened in January 21st. In 1980, on the 21st of January, a long shot in the history of college basketball, and probably the sport in general, occurred at the Tully Gym as Virginia Tech's Les Henson, who wore number 21, sunk a shot 89 foot 3 inches long to carry Virginia Tech over Florida 79-77. Remember that this was only worth 2 points in that era because the three-point shot did not arrive in the NCAA rulebook until 1986, some 6 years after this game. At first, the shot was recorded as 93 feet, but later it was adjusted. Needless to say, it was long enough to earn Henson a spot in the Guinness Book of World Records. The record has since been surpassed, but those that followed the Virginia Tech basketball program will always remember the shot that became known as the Henson Heave. January 21st, 1985, the New York Islanders' great number 5, Dennis Potvin, tied the legendary number 4, Bobby Orr's career record of 270 NHL career goals. In 1990, on the 21st of January, the 41st NHL All-Star Game took place at the Civic Arena, the Igloo in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. The Wales Conference defeated the Campbell Conference 12-7. The most valuable player was the hometown guy, Pittsburgh Penguins center number 66, Mario Lemieux. And finally, we come to 2007, January 21st. History was made when the first black head coach to lead their team to a Super Bowl was accomplished. In fact, 2 of them, as Tony Dungy and his Indianapolis Colts earned the right to face Lovie Smith and the Chicago Bears in Super Bowl 41. Almost a year today, that feat was repeated when Mike Tomlin of the Pittsburgh Steelers took his team to the big game and later won it all. The Colts-Bears game will be played on February 4th, 2007, with Dungy and the Colts lifting the Lombardi, and it sounds like a great story that we might be talking about on the February 4th Sports Break. So, till then, you can listen to some other great episodes because we're going to be having a bunch of each daily sports breaks coming out as we do each and every day of the year. You can go back and listen to any day of the year that you'd like. We have them covered. I believe we started this in April on the audio. We have been doing the written version on jerseydispatch.com, for over a year now. We're into the recycling of some of this item. So great stuff there. We also have a daily on Pigskin Dispatch. If you're not familiar with it, you can go to the front page any day at pigskindispatch.com and look at that and see the daily events that happen in football. We're also having some other daily posts that are coming up, some pertaining to the day, some off topic and just talking about some other elements of football history, but we always have some great stuff, and a great way to see all of that is to get our daily newsletter. Really easy to sign up for. Go to pigskindispatch.com or jerseydispatch.com at the top, or the show notes of this very podcast, there's a sign-up link there. Answer 2 questions, your name, your email, and every day, 6:30 a.m. Eastern, you will get a copy of what's going on from the Pigpen, jerseydispatch.com, pigskindispatch.com, Orville Mulligan, sports writer, and many things that are happening on sportshistorynetwork.com. So, till tomorrow, everybody, have a great Sports History Day. This penalty kill is almost over. I got to get back out on the ice. But thanks again for joining us for another great edition of Sports Jersey Dispatch Podcast. We'll see you tomorrow. We invite you to check out our websites, jerseydispatch.com and pigskindispatch.com. Not only see the daily sports history, but to experience the preservation of great events and people that play the games. Find us on Pigskin Dispatch. It's also on social media outlets of Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and don't forget the Pigskin Dispatch YouTube channel. You get all your daily sports history. Pigskin Dispatch is happy to be associated with the Sports History Network, the sports headquarters of yesteryear, found at sportshistorynetwork.com.
This podcast is part of the Sports History Network, your headquarters for the yesteryear of your favorite sport. You can learn more at sportshistorynetwork.com. Hey there, sports history fan. This is Arnie Chapman, aka the Football History Dude, and I hope that you enjoyed this recent episode presented by the Sports History Network and were able to learn some good old-fashioned sports history knowledge nuggets. I started the Sports History Network back in 2020 with the mission to help podcasters find a community of like-minded sports history nerds, as well as helping aspiring podcasters to start their own shows. We have a little bit over 30 shows on the network right now covering all sorts of sports history, but as far as I'm concerned, we're just at the toothpick in the ocean moment, that can't even figure it out because there's so much more coming. We wanted to create the ultimate headquarters for sports yesteryear, starting with Podcast Network and our website, but we're going to continue to move into other mediums as well. And here's the cool part, because we want you to be part of our team. So if you're interested in starting your own podcast, or maybe being a guest on one of our shows, or who knows, maybe even writing an article for us over on the website. Seriously, all you gotta do is reach out to us on the contact page over at sportshistorynetwork.com. You can be as technologically savvy as a Neanderthal tapping on a stone trying to figure out this whole hieroglyphics thing back in the day. Again, it doesn't matter, because even if you don't understand the whole podcast space, we have a production team that can pretty much help you out with doing everything. All you gotta do, head over to sportshistorynetwork.com, head to the contact page, fill it out. That message goes right to me, and I'll reach out to you as soon as I can. But for now, dude, I'm through if you're through.